There are certain things you see every now and then that just change the way you think about things, and Midsommar did that for me. Around 2 years ago, I set out to watch a load of classic movies. I've always enjoyed everything horror. I remember trying to find Slender Man and watching creepypasta YouTube videos in like 2014. But anyway, I slapped Midsommar on the old laptop and I had no idea what I was in for. Part of what made Midsommar so brilliant was how empathetic I ended up feeling for Dani. She's like going through it this entire movie. So let's start with the boyfriend, Christian. Christian's a really interesting character because his portrayal of an uncommitted partner is acted with such nuance. He's not outright bad, but he's not good to Dani either. Like, the two sides of this relationship. We know Dani is afraid of scaring Christian off by having too much baggage. And we also know that Christian has basically been checked out of the relationship for about a year and is planning on ending things. So early on, Dani's sister's having a breakdown, sending concerning messages that insinuate a desire to
commit suicide.
Dani calls Christian for advice on what to do. Does he comfort her? Does he help her? No. He blames Dani for her sister's erratic behaviour, who we know is struggling with bipolar. His demeanour and lack of urgency during their phone call just screams uninterested. He doesn't care. Dani essentially gives up and exclaims that he's right about the situation and that she's lucky to have him. But this is messed up, man. Dani ignores her own valid feelings of concern to not scare her own boyfriend away. She does this several times throughout the movie where she, beats herself up for simply feeling things. She even blames herself when Christian forgets her birthday. The imbalance of commitment early on is just cooked. The friend group are the remaining leads that we also meet early on. I really enjoy the group here. The dialogue is actually funny, awkward and natural. We learn that they are all going out to a festival in Sweden. What we realise is that Christian hasn't told Dani about it. I mean, I don't need to explain why this is messed up, right? She finds out in an awkward conversation at a house party, after rightfully confronting Christian for his bad behaviour, for lack of a better word. He becomes avoidant again and says he should just go home. Once again, out of fear of scaring him off, Dani people pleases and pretends like it wasn't an issue. This repeated scenario of Dani pushing her feelings aside really emphasizes how toxic their relationship is. It's not an explosive argument, but a situation that will exhaust anyone. Christian's disengaged attitude pushes Dani to hide her feelings in an effort to not push Christian away. She just lost her family. I mean, this guy is just a... The director gives each character a different motivation to go to the festival. Josh wants to do research on his paper, Mark wants to go for the women, and Christian wants to distance himself from Dani, who just wants to be involved after losing her family, for Christ's sake. But what's really great about this is it presents an interesting dynamic between them all, as they're all going for different reasons, which makes them interact with the trip entirely differently. Right, I want to go back to Christian for a bit. We'll give him some grace. He's not all bad. Once they arrive in Sweden, he tells Dani it's okay if she doesn't want to partake in the
hallucinogens.
That's kind of chill, and he even joins her in abstinence to make her feel comfortable. He feels guilt and apologizes for forgetting Dani's birthday, so he's not a psychopath. The problem is, these bare minimum efforts are few and far between. And I find myself proper rooting for Dani because the person she needs simply isn't there for her. I don't think you could have had a better protagonist for what is essentially a movie about a cult. She's vulnerable and needs someone, making her the perfect victim in this case. We see the group now in Sweden driving to the festival, and you get this awesome shot where the camera twists upside down as they approach the destination. I mean, what a cool way of symbolizing that our characters are heading towards a bad place. I also want to take some time to mention the style of Midsommar. This movie is beautiful. The way the movie's edited with those hard cuts genuinely changed the way I perceive transitions. It's jarring and characterizes the movie in such a unique way. On a visual front, the rolling grassy fields, the blue sky, the white outfits, it makes the cult seem pleasant and peaceful, and I just love the juxtaposition with what lays underneath. Not to mention the constant hints you can pick up on rewatch. The start of the movie literally shows a painting which tells the story. It's awesome, man. I also love how realistically the movie handles characters. Events actually impact Dani, and there are several instances where she has to physically remove herself just to let it all out, reinforcing the concealing of emotions that her relationship with Christian has encouraged. I also love the inclusion of Connie and Simon. They just feel like the normal British people on this horrible vacation. Their reactions to the cult's practices feel like my reactions, so their presence is really valid and sobering, and they seem to be in a healthy relationship when they tell everyone that they're engaged. And I think that's just a nice contrast to Dani and Christian. Christian, who moments earlier forgot how long they'd been together. The scenes we get with them just do well to characterize just how much of a asshole Christian is basically to everyone around him. I don't recall him ever being outwardly mean to Dani, but he's just avoidant, shifts blame, he's emotionally unavailable when she needs him the most. It's a relationship dynamic that I haven't really seen in a horror movie. After one of the ceremonies where the old people jump off the cliff, which sounds completely mental out of context, Pele pulls Dani for a conversation. A conversation that's so premeditated that it's just gross. He plants the seed of family and how the feeling of being held saved Pele. He's setting the stage and softening Dani to the idea of joining the fold. He knows exactly what he's doing. This guy Pele, man, he's dodgy. He's dodgy as hell. After about halfway through the movie, things start to go wrong for the visitors. Simon's disappearance, Mark's disappearance, what was once a peaceful getaway now feels suspicious. There's a tension between the visitors and the cult. This only grows as the group is picked off one by one. The atmosphere becomes lonely. There's less dialogue in the last hour of the movie, and it feels claustrophobic. The fate of the remaining survivors closes in. Our characters are too deep in at this point. So the kills start happening about halfway through the movie. This is good. I really like how long this actually takes because I like the characters. The group are in the movie for a really long time. I do wish the kills weren't so off screen. I get why they've done it. That can be a really effective way of putting the audience in Dani's shoes by having people disappear without any answer. But as a horror fan, I think it would have been more interesting to see the kills, as there's an opportunity to do cool stuff with characters and emphasize how much danger the remaining characters are in. I think this would have driven the stakes up in my opinion, but hey. So as the characters do die off, the movie starts to feel so different. Christian and Dani are given hallucinogens this time, and the tone shifts again as our remaining characters are tripping balls. The movie feels lonelier, it feels dreamier in the final hour of runtime. It's a bold move and places the audience in a trance like Dani and Christian, and I think that's pretty great. A really strange sequence follows. Christian is drugged and coerced into making a baby with one of the cult members because he's been chosen. Dani sees this happening and starts vomiting and breaking down. She's soon swarmed by the cult and they start crying with her, smothering her physically and emotionally. We see the cult practice this method of shared emotion several times throughout the movie. When the old man falls to end his own life, they all scream in agony. When Christian is having sex, they moan in a collective
orgasm.
It's weird, you know? It's like one overwhelming, haunting method of indoctrination. I see this moment as a bit of a turning point. After some time, Dani and the cult begin crying in sync, one collective moan. From this moment, the cult has Dani. Meanwhile, Christian is
drugged,
and being taken advantage of, and by this point it's GG's, it's over. Dani's covered in a big flower dress that's practically swallowing her, really reflecting the hold that the cult has now. Christian and the other victims, they're burned in a temple. As Christian is literally cooked, Dani smiles, laughs even. She's found belonging, a community that she didn't have after losing her family. It's messed up and cathartic at the same time. She feels liberated as Christian burns, but she's more trapped than ever. The soundtrack during this scene is like one of the most powerful pieces of music I've ever listened to. The strings just feel like the embodiment of Dani's hurt just being unleashed. The song's called Fire Temple. I will listen to this song casually. Definitely one of my favourite moments ever put to film. As generational as this ending is, I don't feel good about it, man. Dani's a victim of the
predatory practices
that the cult uses to indoctrinate the vulnerable.